This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV for December 8th, 2023, our Friday five big stories of the week as we head into the weekend. I'm Derek Gilbert. This, by the way, the start of the Hanukkah holiday for Jews around the world. That is a season of light, of miraculous light, and it's apropos, because the world desperately needs that right now. Topic number 5, of course, this week is Israel. As we told you earlier in the week, the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas broke down. As of this recording, the IDF has moved into the southern part of the Gaza Strip. The ground assault now reaching the center of the town of Khan Yunis. That's a city of about 200,000 people near the border with Egypt. Khan Yunis, the suspected hiding place of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, who interestingly was part of that 1,000 for 1 exchange about 10 years ago, where 1,000 Palestinian Arabs held by Israel on suspected terror charges for the soldier Gilad Shalit, who was captured by Hamas. Hard to say how October 7th might have been different if Sinwar had still been in prison, but it's an ideology. It's a cult, a death cult. It's not a nation state. Hamas would have continued with someone else at the helm, and likely something like this would have happened with or without Yahya Sinwar. Anyway, Yemen continues to try to widen this war, to escalate it into a regional conflict by targeting commercial shipping in the Red Sea. Remember, the Red Sea, one of the most heavily traveled commercial shipping lanes in the world. If the Red Sea becomes too dangerous for shipping, things like petroleum, commodities like grain, this would affect the entire world. The U.S. has a couple of aircraft carriers in the region and an amphibious group in the Red Sea led by the USS Bataan. And remember, there are officials inside Washington, D.C. frustrated with the White House's rather limp response to Yemen thus far. They're arguing for a more aggressive response, which again could lead to an escalation of this conflict. Here inside the U.S., anti-Semitism on display. Bomb threats, as we told you earlier this week, made against 15 synagogues in New York State last Friday morning. Also last Friday, a Palestinian terrorist group, Samidoun, co-sponsored an anti-Israel rally at Princeton University. And speaking of higher education, a shocking display of the absolute disconnect between higher education in the U.S. and the rest of the country. The presidents of Harvard, Penn, University of Pennsylvania, and MIT testified at a congressional hearing on Tuesday. All three asked if calling for the genocide of Jews violated their university's code of conduct or rules regarding bullying or harassment. In a nutshell, all three basically said it depends on the context and whether the speech turns into conduct. In other words, it's okay, apparently, at Harvard, Penn, and MIT to call for the extermination of the Jews as long as you don't actually go out and kill any. Now, you know as well as I do that were the target group here changed to any of the certain protected classes in higher academia, people of color, transgender activists, people with same-sex attractions, have call for the extermination of them, and of course, yes, that would very definitely be a violation of codes of conduct. In fact, the president of Penn actually went to social media the day after this went viral on social media and said, no, we didn't actually mean that. Translation, wealthy donors are starting to pull their support from our university. Topic number 4, Ukraine. Another sign that the war between Ukraine and Russia is all over but the shouting at this point, as Germany's Die Welt newspaper, probably the most popular in the country, published an article from its chief correspondent arguing that Kyiv has already lost the war. Ukraine's top general, Valery Zaluzhny, admitting in a recent interview that they've reached a stalemate. It would take a miracle weapon of some sort to change the situation on the battleground. When you actually look at the change in territory held by Russia since the initial invasion last spring, there's been virtually no change on the battlefield. A lot of death, a lot of destruction, no change in the territory held. It is basically Die Welt becoming just the latest legacy media outlet here in the West, signaling to President Zelensky and the Ukrainian elites that the time has come to sue for peace. Just basically, Russia's got the eastern and southern part of the country, and you're just going to have to live with that, apparently. Topic number 3, green dreams. COP28 this week in the UAE. the president of COP28. This is the annual global meeting where climate alarmists meet to decide how the rest of us should live without energy. He claimed, this is Sultan Al Jaber, who, by the way, is not just the president of COP28, he's also the chief executive officer of the UAE's state-owned oil company, ADNOC. Al Jaber said, there is no science indicating that a phase out of fossil fuels is needed to restrict global heating to 1.5 degrees centigrade. That's the magic number that climate scientists have decided is necessary to save us all from burning to death. I think Al Jaber actually means there's no science showing that the 1.5 degree Celsius increase is actually achievable, or when you're dealing with global warming, it is primarily driven by that big flaming ball of gas in the sky, not what you're driving and what is powering your vehicle. The comments, of course, were made liberals' heads explode. Climate denial, verging on just incredibly concerning, and so on and so forth. John Kerry also this week announced that the United States has officially joined a coalition of 55 other countries who plan to get rid of coal in the name of climate change. Now, just under 20% of U.S. electricity here now generated by coal as of October of 2023. But around the world, coal is the number one source of electricity. It's about 36% of global generating capacity. About half of that is in China. And I did look up and double check my statement earlier this week. Throughout the year of 2022, China was approving 2 new coal-fired power plants per week, which means that the 56 other nations willing to ditch coal by 2030 or 2035 was going to have absolutely no impact on emissions worldwide at all. It will accomplish nothing. Just as the congressional allocation of $7.5 billion to build new electric charging stations for electric vehicles by 2030. This $7.5 billion was allocated 2 years ago as part of the big infrastructure spending bill. So far to date, 0 new charging stations have been built. And again, it is all part of a pipe dream. It is a scam. Rural America here, electric vehicles will be absolutely useless. And the fact that the days on lot now, average days on lot for new EVs continues to grow indicates that Americans not really willing to spend the 30% more per vehicle to buy an EV. Topic number 2, the censorship-industrial complex. The deep state's war on free speech continues. This week we learned that a for-profit censorship company called NewsGuard selling its misinformation fingerprints technology to private companies to track and squash unapproved speech online. What we didn't know prior to this week was that the Department of Defense helped fund the development of this censorship tool to the tune of $750,000 in taxpayer money. Yes, we have funded the development of this new censorship tool, the government getting around the First Amendment restrictions on free speech, or on restricting free speech by farming it out to private companies. This is how they're getting around it. The war on free speech, much bigger than just NewsGuard, however, as we also learned that this week, the federal government awarded more than 500 contracts or grants to private companies to research dis, or malinformation, this just since 2020. In Ireland, the government there trying to pass a draconian law by Christmas to crack down on hate speech, justifying it by pointing to recent riots in Dublin that followed a stabbing attack at a school that left 3 young children and 2 adults injured. The perpetrator, described in the media as a naturalized Irish citizen, which conceals the fact that he is Algerian, North African by birth. According to independent journalist Michael Schellenberg, this Irish hate speech law is bigger than just Ireland because it is a test case for the military intelligence complex. The military intelligence operatives in the U.S., the U.K., and Western Europe, watching to see how this goes over. If they can compel social media outlets to control what they allow on their platform just for Ireland, just imagine how effective that would be if they could do that in the U.S., the U.K., and Western Europe. This is an assault on independent journalism and, yes, our right to say what we think on social media. Coming up, a Republican dream ticket for 2024? Oh, just wait till you hear who's in the running. That's next on the Friday Five.
We want to make sure that you're aware of the largest giveaway of the year in the We Are Legion Grand Collection. When you order the We Are Legion Grand Collection from skywatchtvstore.com, you'll receive We Are Legion for We Are Many, Dominions, Cosmo Craters, and Washington, D.C. Unmasking the Ancient Riddle of the Hebrew Year 5785 and the Eminent Destiny of America by best-selling author Dr. Thomas Horn. Divided We Stand, the globalist scheme for a one-world government by Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis, and The Prince of the Power of the Air and the Last Days, Satanology, History, Prophecy, and Technology by Jeffrey W. Martis. But we're just getting started. This must-have collection also includes the breathtaking 2-hour documentary, The Secret Destiny of America, on DVD, featuring Dr. Thomas Horn as he reveals who the God on America's Great Seal and U.S. $1 bill really is, why 72 pentagrams in the Capitol Dome are used to control the ancient Cosmo Craters who rule the nations, the coming incarnation of Antichrist, and much, much more. But that's not all. With the holidays just around the corner, now's your chance to save big and receive solid bonus merchandise absolutely free. Because also included in the We Are Legion Grand Collection are any number of brand new, super quality, overstock gift books, DVDs, or audio sets to add to your library or to give away as gifts this coming holiday season. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of nearly $150. Yours now for your donation of only $35 plus shipping and handling, so act quickly. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity. This is the largest giveaway of the year, just in time for the holiday gift-giving season, and is available only while supplies last, so don't delay. Visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the We Are Legion Grand Collection now.
Item number one today, Axios, kind of a left-leaning news outlet, reporting on plans inside the Trump re-election campaign for how he will staff a second term in the White House. According to Axios, if elected, Trump would build a cabinet and White House staff built mainly on two imperatives: pre-vetted loyalty to Donald Trump and a commitment to stretch legal and governance boundaries. Now, that's actually hilarious because we've seen exactly that, stretching legal and governance boundaries from the last three Democratic presidential administrations. We also saw it with George W. Bush, actually, who elevated the art of the signing statement to a new level. Signing statement, I'm signing this bill into law, but here's how I interpret it, which may not be the way Congress intended it. And of course, the executive order, stroke of the pen, law of the land, as Bill Clinton's advisor Paul Begala once said. Anyway, setting aside that, and by the way, just pointing out for reference, President Obama was the one who personally approved kill lists of American citizens who were deemed threats to national security. No oversight by Congress or the judicial branch, just President Obama and his national security team decided who needed to be hit with a, Predator drone. Seriously. And even Republicans, other than, say, Ron Paul, didn't really complain about that. Setting that aside, Axios continues, and this is the funny part. Melania Trump reportedly wants Tucker Carlson as a vice presidential running mate. She thinks Carlson would be great on stage as an extension of President Trump. And while the former First Lady has made very few campaign appearances since leaving the White House, it is reported that if Tucker Carlson were the running mate for 2024, she could be persuaded to go back out on the campaign trail. Don't know how Tucker Carlson would do as vice president, but just based on his show on X, it would at least be hilarious, and in a good way. Well, this week on Skywatch TV, we continue the last series of programs featuring Dr. Tom Horn. 3 new books from Defender Publishing. Tom's last book, We Are Legion for We Are Many, which looks at what is coming in 2024, both politically and prophetically. Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis' new book, Divided We Stand, and great new book by Jeffrey Martis, The Prince of the Power of the Air. What do we know about Satan, and what exactly does he influence? Don't miss these programs. They're all available at our website, skywatchtv.com. You can watch it right now at our Roku or Apple TV channels. If you have one of those set-top boxes, make sure you've got the Skywatch TV channel for that. If you watch over the air, or you want to recommend it to a friend who watches, say, Christian television networks, all of our network programs are posted, the schedule that is, at skywatchtv.com/channels. But best of all, get our free mobile app. That guarantees we will never, that is, be canceled because, well, it's our app. All of our video content is there. There's also news updates 3 times a week, a calendar of upcoming events, a place to donate if you're so led, and more right in the palm of your hand, whether it's iOS, Android, or Amazon Kindle Fire. We've got apps for all of those and links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com/app. Thank you for watching as we keep watch, and have a blessed weekend. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.